Welcome to another video. In this video we will discuss about passwordless authentication in the Rails application. So when the users come to your application and they go to login, they don't need to enter their password. They will just enter their email or phone, and they will receive a unique URL or OTP or some unique token, and they just need to enter that one. So that link or token or OTP is only for one time, so they just use that and they will automatically be logged in. So this is called a passwordless authentication, so in which the users don't need to enter their password. Okay, I think let's start. So before starting, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. So let's go to the terminal and create a new application, Rails new, and the application name is Passwordless auth, and we are using the Bootstrap for the front-end framework, and the database is Postgres. So before that, let's check our Ruby version. So current Ruby version is 2.6.2. let's change it to the latest one, so we can use the latest one is 3.3.0, or VM use 3.0, and then let's create the gem set, or VM gem set create. Let's name it the same name, passwordless auth. Hit enter. The gem set is created. Now let's use it, or VM gem set use and passwordless auth. And now let's run the Rails new command, Rails new passwordless auth, and CSS Bootstrap, and database is Postgres. Okay, if I hit enter, our application is creating. So it is installing all the gems. Okay, the gems are installed, and now it is running the import map that comes by default in the Rails 7. So now the turbo is installed, and the action cable is configured. Okay, now the bun is running and it is compiling the assets. Okay, so our application is created. Now let's go to passwordless auth. Let's open it in VS Code. Okay, so this is the application. These are the gems that comes by default. It comes with Puma, import map, turbo, stimulus, yeah, everything. So let's run our application. If we run bin dev, okay, let's run first bundle install. Let's check which gem set is used. I think it's default. Let's change the gem set to RVM gem set use passwordless auth, and if we run bundle here, okay, everything is good. Let's now run the application by using bin dev. It will install the proc file and it will listen all the changes and it. So let's go to the browser and run localhost 3000, not products but only. Okay, so our database is not created. Let's create it. Create database. Okay, so our application is running. There is no any error. So let's go to the terminal and now run bundle add, and the gem name is Passwordless. Okay, yeah, before adding the authentication, let's add some scaffold so that we can check the authentication actually. So let's raise generate scaffold. Let's name it article with a title string and just that. Let's hit enter. Okay, if we go to routes, let's change the root path so that whenever application starts it will open the default page that will be articles and hash index. Okay, let's run bin dev again and check the changes. Okay, if we hit enter, so yeah, the migrations are pending because we just created the articles table. Okay, so you can see when we come to the root URL, it's take us to the article index page. We can create an article like first article. Okay, so our articles are working. Now go back and add the migration for the passwordless authentication. So we can run the command rails passwordless engine and install the migrations. Okay, so the migration is created. So if we check this migration from the code, let's go to db and migrate, and this is the passwordless migration. So it creates all the fields, the token, expire date, timeout and claim date, and it sets up the polymorphic association with the model that will be used. So in our case we will be using the user model. So let's create a new model user, rails generate scaffold. Let's create it user and add the field name and email. I think that's all enough. So let's hit enter. Okay, so the users are created and we can check the model as well. Yeah, the model is also created. So let's run rails db migrate because we just created the users table. Okay, so the users are created. Let's go to our user model and add the passwordless with email. This is the column that we will be using for the users to authenticate. Okay, let's change our routes. If we go to the routes, we have the resources users. Let's change it to the passwordless for, and the resource name is users. Okay, I think that's all for it. Let's run the application. Okay, so the application is running fine, but we did not see any authentication because I can access the, for example, the new article without logging in, right? So if we go back to our application controller, we have to add the controller helpers, the passwordless controller helpers, and here we will create a new helper method, and the helper method name will be current user, same as device. Let's follow the same convention, and let's create a private method. Current user, and add here current user is equal to authenticate by session. This is the helper method that is coming from this controller helpers, passwordless controller helpers, and here we have to use the class name, that is the user. Okay, and let's add one more method, that is require user or authenticate user, same as device. So for in this case we will change the method and change it to require user, so we can call this method before the method that we require login or authentication. So yeah, let's then check it here if current user is present, and then just simply return. Otherwise we have to create the user session or redirect it to the another path. So we can use another helper method, that is save passwordless, and then redirect location. So yeah, this is again another helper method that is from this passwordless, and we have to use the model name. So after setting the redirection path, we have to redirect the user to redirect, and then to, for example, root path. We can set the root path, and then we can set the alert message. You need to log in first. Okay, so yeah, if we go back to the articles controller, yeah, before create, we suppose we want to authenticate the user before create, so we can copy this method and call it here. So we can use before action require user and only create. So this method will be called before the create method only. So let's save it, and let's go back to the articles. Let's create a new article. Let's save the changes and run windev again. Let's restart the server. So I think we can create require the login before the new action, so the form will not show. This form, when we click on the new article, we will show a new form. So the user should also or not show the article form if they are not logged in. So if we click on the new article, you can see that so we have a little typo. If we go to the controller, and we have this typo, authenticate by session. Alright, so if we go back, refresh and then click on new article, you can see that it redirects back to the root path. So if I click here, or if I go to the articles and then new, it redirects back because it asks for user to authenticate. So currently we did not see the flash message that we set, for example this alert. So to show that, we have to go to application.html.erb. That's before body. Let's use flash of alert. Okay, so if I click new article, you can see that you need to log in first, this message. Let's change the color here, or we can use the bootstrap. Let's change it to alert and alert dash danger. Okay, so we can show only if flash of alert is present, because you can see currently the alert is showing by default and there is no any message. So we should not show this div as well if the flash or error message is not present. So flash error dot present and move it to one block forward and add the end here. So if we refresh, so that's gone. Let's click on new article. It says that you need to log in first. Alright, so authentication is added. So now what we have to do is, let's create the views, because we don't see any login or the create account by views. So let's go back and generate the views. So we can generate the views, generate passwordless and then views. Okay, so the views are generated. So if we go back and to the, so they are created in app, views and passwordless. So let's go to the app, views and then passwordless, and then we have session. So this form will be shown when the user will try to log in, and this is the show form. This is for the session new, and this is for the show. Let's check it. So before that, let's check what are the routes that the passwordless added. So to use that, let's use Rails routes, and then let's grab only the password routes. So you can see that it adds these URLs. The URLs will be passwordless and then session. Sorry, the users will be /users and sign in, and it will call this passwordless session the new method, and the user and the other path is user sign in. This is the get and this is the post, and then we have this user sign in, and then we will have the ID. So these are all the paths that are generated by the passwordless. So let's run our application and try to go to this path so that the users can sign in. So if we go to the user sign in, you can see that it asks for email, because we only require email or phone, and where it comes from, if we go to the user model, we specify here that it will require the email for the authentication. Okay, let's add our email. Currently we don't have any users, so we can use some other path, and the path will be I think so it should be sign up, but I'm not sure. So we have to show the users sign up path. Let's try to sign in without any email. For example, if I run, if we go back here, so let's see how can we add the sign up path. So if we let's open up a new tab, let's use the change the gem set, raise routes, and let's check all the routes. So this gem does not provide the sign up path, so we have to create our sign up users from scratch. So let's do that. If we go back to the VS Code and in the passwordless, or let's go to the routes and add a new route. Let's go to get, and then will be users slash sign up, and it will take us to the users hash sign up. Okay, let's add the helper method, and it will be user sign up. Okay, so this is the get path and this is the post path, and it should go to create user. Okay, the paths are added. Now let's go to our views. If we go to users and add a new view, that will be sign up .html.erb, and let's go to the users controller and create a method sign up, right? And then we have the another method that is create user. So I think we can use the existing one, the new, and the create method. Okay, so I think let's do that. Instead of using that one, let's go to the users and then the new. Let's add the resources users as well, so that we can use the existing pass. Okay, so if we go back to the new user and let's create a new user by adding the name and email. Let's create a new user and submit it. So the user is created, so we can go back. Let's remove these ones, because when the user is created we will redirect them to the login path. So let's go to the users controller. So after the save in the create, after the user is saved, so let's, instead of showing that one, we can redirect them to the login path. So let's see how we can use the sign in path. If we check from here what are the paths, so let's see. So we can use users sign in helper method. Okay, and let's go back, refresh, and then go to sign in users and then new. Let's add a new account, for example test, and test at gmail.com. let's create a user. So we have to use the sign in path. Okay, so let's submit it again. The user was created. I think we have to create some new. Let's name it gmail at gmail.com. let's create a new user. So the user is created. Let's see if we got any error. Okay, so the user is created. Now let's go to the users sign in. So it is trying to find the user with the ID sign in. So we have to fix that one. If we go to routes and let's create only, we can only create the new and create path. Okay, so now we can see that the login form. Here we can enter the email. Okay, so let's click sign in. Okay, so now it tries to send us the email, so that's why we have to set the default URL params. If we go back to our application.rb, right, so in the config, action mailer and default URL options, so currently we are using localhost. So let's, instead of using application, let's go to our environments, and in the development.rb file let's configure the action default URL options, and then let's set it to 127.0.0.1 and the port is 3000. We can also add the port here, but we have the separate option to setting the port. So I think, yeah, that's it. Let's try to sign in again. Okay, select users and then sign in. Let's add the email. If we click sign in, so yeah, before that we have to restart the server. Let's refresh and try to sign in again. Okay, so it did not show any error, so it sent the email, and now it redirects to a new URL where you can see that it give us a unique URL. If we go back to our console, if I can show you, it sends us an email, so and the URL is this. Okay, so this is the URL. If I click on this URL, it will automatically sign me in, or we can use this token to sign in. So let's copy the token here. Let's confirm. So the user is now created, and now you can see that I can now access the article's new form, because this form was protected, and we can't access it if the user is not authenticated or not logged in. Okay, so yeah, that's so instead of copying the password or the link from console, let's run a service mail catcher. Okay, so mail catcher is running. Let's go to this URL. Okay, let's try to, I think we have to sign out first, so let's add a sign out helper. If we go back to the application.html.erb file, and let's add the sign out path here. If we refresh it, sign out, and then with the path, so I think we have to use let's check their sign out path. We can check it from here. If we go here and Rails routes and grab password. Okay, so the sign out path is this one, users sign out, and then path. Okay, let's refresh, and we can see the sign out link here. If we click on it, you can see the user is signed out successfully, and they now can't access the article's new path because the user is not currently logged in. Article is new. You can see you need to log in first. Okay, so now let's add a sign in helper method here. For example, users sign in. Let's add a new helper. A new link, so the users can click on that link, and they will redirect to the sign in form. Okay, if I refresh, so we can see the sign in URL. If I click on it, it will take us to this form. We can still see the sign out path, but we will fix it soon. So let's go to sign in and try to sign in with the user. If I click sign in, okay, so we got an error, can't verify CSRF authenticity token. Why is that? Let's refresh, restart the server. Let's go to sign in and let's check if the sign in token is created or not. Okay, let's go to application. Let's try to sign in. So you can see that it sent us, it takes us to a new form where we have to enter the token. And if we go to mail catcher and refresh, it did not catch any email. So why did not send us the email? Let's fix it. If we go to the development.rb file and let's add the action mailer and perform deliveries to true. Sorry, I think that's it. Let's restart the server because we changed the development.rb file. And if we go back to the users and sign in, let's try to sign in again. Okay, it still did not send us the email. Let me check why this is happening. So okay, so we have added the we are running the mail catcher, the service, but we have not configured it in our application. So to do that, first we have to add our delivery method, that is SMTP, and the SMTP settings are, we are currently using this SMTP service, that is mail catcher, and it's running on port, if we go back, and the port is 1080. Okay, so this is the port for the backend. Let's try to save it and run the server again. If I go back here, let's close this one and let's go to and run the server again. Okay, let's try to sign in the user again. So you can see that we got an email. This is the email. You can see that the token is this one, and alternately we can click on this one to sign in automatically. Okay, so let's try first this one. Confirm it. The user is signed in. We can access the. It did not sign in. Let's try to sign in again. Okay, so the user is now signed in. Okay, let's sign out and try to sign in with the link. Let's go to the sign in and click sign in again. Let's go to the mail catcher and now click on this sign in. So the user is now signed in as well. So user can sign in through the link or through the token that is sent in the email. So I think that's all for this video. So in this video we set up the passwordless authentication and the mail catcher, so the users don't need to go to, because the users can't access this console in the production. So the best way is we have to use some service, but in production you will be using some other service. This is only for the local testing. So I think that's all for this video, and I hope you have learned something new. Yeah, please subscribe my channel and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.